All right, man, let's round it off in style. So this is the C-Suite Tell-All Lessons from a Black Leader. And literally, we are going to introduce Renee Hunt, former CTO, Managing Director, Technology Advisor, Non-Executive Director, and Executive Coach, who will share what it really takes to lead us to the top. And she will be joined by the founder, the queen. Hey, Kike, make some noise for them both, please.
Hello, hello. Just also to add, in the after party, we have notes performing. So I hope do you guys not know notes? Does nobody know notes? Okay. Hello, Renee. Welcome. So I wasn't actually meant to host this panel, but I'm happy I am because I know Renee. I love Renee. We've known each other for a very long time. So it's going to be very powerful. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
You look wonderful. I want you to introduce yourself. And whenever I get on stage with you, I always say, don't hold back, right? But you have 1 minute. You got 1 minute to let people know who you are and why they need to listen up.
Hi, I'm Renee Hunt. As I said in the beginning, I am just recently retired from being the CTO of Compare the Market. I was CTO for 3 years. Before that, I was a director in technology with Sky, which is how I met the wonderful Kike. And before that, I was in consulting for about 17 years doing tech transformation and innovation. By this accent, I didn't grow up in this country, but I've been running my own business and leading businesses in the UK in technology for about 30 years. So this is home for me, and this is really home for me. To be in this room with all y'all is something that my wildest dreams could not have imagined when I landed on these shores back in the 90s. So this is joy to be here, so thank you.
I don't know if you can hear a bit of an American accent. Yeah, let's give her a round of applause. So this is called the C-Suite Tell-All. Okay,
you won't tell it.
Lessons from a Black Leader. So this is a really important session because obviously you're all here. We're talking about leadership, what it means to be a leader. You guys should all be leaders. So we're actually speaking to someone who did it. She literally did it. She climbed all the way to C-Suite at Compare the Market, right, after having 20 plus years in corporate. So I'm going to ask some questions, but I'm going to make sure I leave enough time for you guys to ask questions. So please do use the Slido and ask what you want, right? Let's get it all out so we know what to prepare for. So let's start. Like I said, you've climbed the highest levels. Tell me what you feel the practical lessons are that helped you navigate all the barriers that were in place.
Absolutely. So I love this because you're not going to ask me to tell my story because I am bored of this. And I gave this talk not far long ago, so apologies if you were in the room on that day. I'm going to talk about three, and then I'll probably say 4 things that matter. One is around risk-taking. And I think as people of Afro and Caribbean origin, we don't take enough risk. We want to follow the safe path. Go be an accountant. There's nothing wrong with being an accountant. But when you're in environments where you're trying to compete and trying to make moves, you will not get noticed for doing the things everybody else does. And so taking risks may be stepping out of your comfort zone. It may be taking that role that you only think you're about 30% qualified for. Just blag it and go for it because that's what the person that's not of difference will do and get it, right? And probably be less qualified than you. So one of the things that really made a difference for me was saying yes to stuff that scared me a lot, and doing my damnedest to try and make that work. So take some risk, number 1. Number 2, you must make sure in your scope, in your network are mentors, sponsors, and most recently, coaches. Mentors and sponsors are different. Mentors are people who care about your success for no other reason than they just decide they like you. They have nothing to gain. Ideally, they don't work in your company, and ideally, they are independent, so you can tell them anything, literally anything, and they have your success at their heart. Sponsors are the opposite. They are in your industry, in your company, but they're in rooms that you're not in, speaking your name. Equally, they're listening out for what people are saying about you so they can give you the information you need to develop, grow, and be noticed in the organization or in your industry. And then most recently, so I'm a qualified professional executive coach, yay. And I did that because I've had coaching. I didn't want coaching, but I've had coaching, and it was transformational. Because coaching is about not giving you advice, not telling you what to do, not letting you cry on their shoulder. It's about helping you to tap the resources in you to allow you to do what you do best with more ease. So a good coach, and there are plenty of people out there, you don't have to do nothing to call yourself a coach, by the way. But real coaches are not there to tell you anything. They're there to elicit the answers within you through practiced and professional methods. So if your company will pay for you to have a coach, get a coach, right? It makes a massive difference. Okay.
And I love that because I don't think we've heard coaching today. I could be wrong. We always hear about mentorship. We always hear about sponsorship. We haven't actually really heard about coaching. So that's a really good one. But like Renee mentioned, most times you do have to pay for it. So if someone else can pay for it for you, that's great. But if they can't, maybe look at that investment for yourself because it does go a long way.
One more, because I said 3. Network. One of the things I would love to see us do better as people is to give each other more business. Like, honestly, we have to recognize, I love what Akil said about raising money. It's like, right? We have to do what loads of other immigrant communities do for themselves. We have to give each other more business. And it's not weird to not network amongst your friends. It's not, right? Like I said I was terrible at networking. Terrible. Me. Terrible at networking. I believed this for many years because I had a weird picture in my head as what it was. And actually, I have an amazing network. And when I got brave about saying to my network, hey, I'm going to start this business. Can somebody help me find some work? Like the next day, they scored me Sky as a client. The next day, right? Speak to each other, give each other more business. Trust our community and give each other more business. Thank you.
Oh, again, I love that point. I don't feel like I've heard that before. Let's give a round of applause for that. I just want to touch on that because it is real, right? Like, think of your friends or your family that have a business, right? How can you support them in a way that might not be just from yourself? Can you win them business? Can you introduce them to someone? How can you be of value in that way? I always say with BYP Network, some of like my closest friends and stuff like that I love extras because they brought us business. It makes a huge difference. So yes, as an entrepreneur, those who were the entrepreneur panel just before, trust me, it makes a huge difference. So thanks for sharing that. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about mindset and just the kind of confidence and what it takes to get to that next step. So like we know that life is hard and everything is hard work and you have to be quite intentional with that hard work. So I wanted to kind of ask a question about that. Like to get to that highest level of C-suite, so people can see it maybe at the organization that they're in and thinking, okay, I want to get to that C-suite. It might feel quite impossible, like that just sounds absurd. How can they break that barrier, that mental barrier, and put the steps in place to actually get to the top?
So part of the mental barrier is you have to see it to believe it. So if you currently have no one in your network or no one you're associated with that's been a C-level person, go find them. Go find them. Because I was lucky. I grew up originally in the U.S. I knew people who were C-suite people and black. I did. And MDs and all the things. So there at no point in my mind did I think I'm going to be the first or the only, right? So one, see it to be it and find it so that you have that reassurance that there's nothing blocking you. That's number one. So that's a belief. Resilience, right? So what Akil said about mental health, we have to look after our mental health. I've had jobs that nearly broke me. And looking after him, and that was, I'm not going to say it because I'll get in trouble, but, very close to making it into the C-suite. I had jobs that nearly broke me. If you're not looking after your mental health and the dialogue that's going on in your head and the stuff that you're doing to build yourself, you can't do it because you're going to have the wrong attitude, you're going to have the wrong mindset, you're going to have the wrong, right? So when I left my job before joining Compare the Market, I didn't join Compare the Market to be in the C-suite. had no interest in being in the C-suite. I had already decided I didn't want to be in the C-suite. I went to go do a job I knew I could do, whatever, right? But in the time between leaving my last job and joining them, I did a lot of self-work, a lot of self-work on mindset, around positive mental attitude, around curiosity, basically getting rid of all the blah, and going in as fresh and positive and can-do and engaged as possible. Less than 90 days. I get tapped on the shoulder to join the C-suite. I don't think that was a coincidence. So you got to work on, I'm it, I'm the shit, I'm the jazz, I can do it, I'm resilient, taking the knocks, get back up. I'd say resilience is the number one. And I'm gonna go back to coaching again. When I got the role, I immediately went into panic because I felt largely unqualified for about half of it, but you gotta do stuff that scares you. The coach helped me to tap into the resources I had so that I wasn't operating from that place of fear and instead operating from the places where I was resilient, right? And I could be brave in the places where I was like, well, we're learning on the job here. That's okay, everybody knows that. But resilience, and please, folks, make sure you have that group of people who are gonna big you up on those bad days, and make sure you're doing the work to look after this and the soul and all those things.
I actually want to touch on that point. I've been thinking about track record, right? So like if you audit yourself where you are today and you think about the things that you're good at or the things that you've achieved at, and so you can do it because you've done it before, I feel like that's what you need to take you forward. Like that confidence that, I have done it before, it was hard, I did it, so I can do it again, or I can do something harder.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's something that you had done.
Honestly, I spent a lot of my career thinking I was lucky. And believing some of the nonsense that people want to tell you about, well, you're lucky or this and that. Like, nobody in the world is this lucky. If I was this lucky, I should have bought a lottery ticket, right? So at some point, objectively write down all the things you've done, look back at it and read it as if, like, take your name off the list and read it as you go into big pitches, as you go into your promotion panel, because you got to believe it about you, right? To know nobody, you're in this room, nobody's this lucky. Just not, right? Unless, of course, you're a Rothschild or something like that. But that's a different kind of luck, ain't it, right? So unless we were born into, like, generational wealth, most of us, the majority of us, earned our place at the table. So, yeah, track record, and know that. Right? It doesn't mean it's always going to turn into, yes, you're going to get the promotion. Like, there were loads of promotions I didn't get, right? But I got the ones that ultimately mattered, right?
And then back to what you said before about you didn't have to dream it up because you had seen others in those positions of power. I feel like for everyone here, that's the importance of BYP Network, right? That's the importance of the conference. You get to see black leaders, black senior leaders, but you do need to go out and seek that. Like, really take the time out to find the person that you kind of want to be, that's already in the position that you want, and then get them as your like mentor, your sponsor, like really study them, learn about them, and then visualization as well. Start visualizing yourself in that position and understand what it takes, as that really can break a barrier. So I just wanted to add that.
I'm going to do a little shout out in terms of these networks. So this is phenomenal. Like, as I said, I couldn't dream a world when I came here in the 90s that this room would be possible. So thank you, Kike. But equally, yes, a round of applause. Thank you. But equally, there are other professional networks, and I think the importance of things like, so I'm a board member at the IOD, and that provides the opportunity to network people across all kinds of levels of business. It's like £400 a year. Join the IOD. Go to the special interest group. Meet people in business. I learned today, I was in a strategy meeting, about a guy who runs one of the chapters, and he runs the chapters because he's an accountant. So he's got a room full of people who are business leaders, who are business owners. Guess what he does? He networks to them, and he gets business from it. Like, complete genius. We need to be doing more of that stuff, right? So that we're meeting the people who could be our mentors. Most of my mentors are white. I'm going to just say that right now, because guess what? They have the jobs. Right? I had one black woman when I worked in the States, and I was very, very grateful for her, and one black man who taught me about boards. I didn't even know about boards because I'm from a working class family. What's a board, right? So, but everybody else in this country, all white, right? Man, do they go to the bat for me. But I only met them because of keeping networks healthy, right? So, yes, we have to give each other more business, but we also have to look for those people who see a spark in us and want us to be successful. And it's like, yes, okay, I'll take your internship. Thank you very much.
100%. I mean, at BYP Network, we always talk about allyship because without allies, this wouldn't even exist today, right? Like, genuinely, they are the ones that have the keys most of the time. They are the ones that have to understand the importance of what we're doing to then unlock it for their employees internally. So allyship is very important. And for those of you who don't have mentors that don't look like you, you should have mentors who don't look like you because they do have information that you need that maybe we don't have, right? Because they're in that world, they're in that game where we might not be. So make sure that you connect with them. And something that Aisha said in the other room was just about how to find what to connect on. Like, it could be something as simple as you both like traveling. That could be your thing, right? Or you both have a dog. That could be your thing. But there is always something you can connect on, like, beyond race. And everyone should seek to do that.
My sponsor at Sky, who ultimately brought me to CTM, he and I were both in the Signal Corps in the Army. And he was like, oh, you were in the Army? What did you do, Signal? We just waxed lyrical from I have a relationship for life because of that connection. You never know where the human connection is going to come from.
And then, so looking back, what's been the most career-defining leadership moment that you've had? One that shaped you the most? And how do you want that to inspire the next generation of black leaders?
Ooh, see, I should have read that question properly beforehand. I hate this. I've worked for over 40 years. Can I have two?
Yes.
Okay, really quickly. I think we'll start at the beginning. I went to school and studied politics and economics, and my dad was worried because the U.S. is in recession, and I went to a out-of-state expensive school, and he said, maybe you should consider ROTC. So that means the Reserve Officer Training Corps, and basically the U.S. Army. And I was like, and I was a cheerleader in high school, right? Like, please. And so I was like, yeah, okay. They gave me a scholarship, which meant that I could stay at that school, and they gave me a job during a recession. I think that was pretty career defining because the job was in Signal, and Signal at the time was becoming computerized. So I would not be in IT today had my dad not whispered in my ear, maybe if you want to keep going to that expensive out-of-state school, you should find a scholarship. This one looks pretty good. So that's number one. We don't have a time machine, but I think it goes back to that risk thing and doing something that feels slightly out of your comfort zone because you don't know where that'll lead. And then I'll go at the end. So way back when, I got a call from my longtime sponsor and sometimes mentor, come join me at this company. Yeah? And I was like, insurance in the Midlands? Ew, I work in sport. I work in television. You crazy? It's like, they're really nice people and they're going to pay you well. I'm like, I like money. Okay. And I took the decision to take that role, even though at the time it felt like a role that was like lateral or maybe backwards. But my reasons for doing it were A, they were going to pay me well, and B, I wanted to work with nice people. Right? And like, I'm not saying, well, I might be saying, but I wanted to work with nice people and I wanted to work for a boss that I really liked. And in doing so, it put me in a position to be considered for a leadership role. And I nearly said no. Because I didn't want to be a CTO. Like, ew, meetings and ew, like even more icky tech. Like, I like software, but I don't like security. I do now. Like, I'm a total security geek now, but I didn't like data and networks and like workplace technology and ERP and ew. And did I mention meetings? Like, so I was like nearly gonna say no. And I was a little bit freaked out, right? Because the parts of the business I least understood were the things that were on fire. And you're a black woman going to be a CTO. Just read it on the FT, right? Black woman tanks Fortune 500 company. Did not want it, right? Didn't want that level of exposure. Didn't want it. And bless them, they were like, it's going to be okay. We're going to support you. We really want you to do it. I'm so glad I said yes. It was such a great job. I enjoyed it immensely. I learned loads at a point in my life when I figured I knew everything. I didn't have nothing else to learn. I became a better leader. So I tell those two stories because both of those put me, like, none of that was planned. Didn't plan that, I didn't plan this, but sometimes the opportunity is the thing on your, like, I didn't walk in his office at all expecting to have that conversation. At all. I thought I was going to show him my plan, because I'd only been there 90 days. Here's my plan for how we're going to save software engineering. He's like, yeah, I got something better to talk to you about, right? Like, what helped me to make that decision? Mentors and sponsors on the phone, lots of tears, husband jumping up in the background going, you're taking it, you're taking it, you're taking it. And I'm so glad I did, right? So for me, I think those were the two big ones, because I wouldn't be able to do this talk because I wouldn't have been in the C-suite, right?
maybe. So please do scan the Slido as we will go to questions in a second.
I love questions.
I've got
Ask me about
question.
the shoes or anything. Yeah.
She is a fashionista. When I first met her, I think she had like this Chanel, like, was it a scarf or collar? I don't know. It was just I was day one on entrepreneurship. It was very expensive. So this is obviously, again, this is tell all, right? So we just had a deep, insight from Akhil on the entrepreneurship panel, right? Him highlighting the truth on entrepreneurship and what he went through. I want to get some kind of story like that from you. Like, do you have a story like that on the journey to C-suite that people need to be aware of?
Ooh, yeah. So I worked for a fairly intense, somewhat aggressive media company that you might have heard of. And one of the challenges when you work for a market leader, I mean, that's way far out front, is they hire all of these type A aggressive, competitive people, and they need to compete. So guess who they compete with? Each other. And that was fine. I knew the company well. I had lots of allies and sponsors, or so I thought. And I watched 3 of them leave the business at exactly the same time. Now the guns are out, right? For no particular reason, right? It wasn't because I looked different or whatever. It was just that was the way it was. Dog eat dog. And right now I look like a dog with no master. So having to find that resilience to stand unprotected was tough, really tough. It definitely hit my mental health. I think my teeth are a lot shorter than they were when I started from all the grinding that was happening at night. And for me, I really did feel kind of trapped because I had been there too long to quit and not be able to say I did anything with that time. But equally, I'm the main breadwinner in my family, so leaving to nothing would not have been good financially. And sometimes your back is going to be against it. And that's when I think, what Akhil said, I got to bet on myself. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to bet on yourself every day. But if you're in corporate, sometimes you might find you're the only one betting on you. That's okay. That's okay. But digging deep in that moment was tough. Was really tough. And I didn't, I did it on my own. No, I didn't. The heck I did, right? But I had to get busy rebuilding networks, finding new sponsors, getting my team to realize that, hey guys, we're in trouble. We're gonna need to start doubling down on getting good at what we're doing. Is that one of the tell-alls you wanted?
Yeah. Does that work for you guys? Is that juicy enough? Yeah. All right. Let's get some questions.
You're not shy. Come on. We are amongst the people.
We've got someone reading it.
Oh, on Slido. Okay, good. Yeah. You don't make them stand up and say, hi, my name is?
So no, we don't. And for those of you wondering why, it's because it's too risky. Okay. Sometimes.
All right,
it's risky.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you, everyone who sent in their questions, and hi, Renee.
Hi.
So for the first question, for someone who believes they suck at networking, how do they change this, particularly someone who's entering the consulting space?
Ooh. So weirdly, I was in the consulting space when I thought I was bad at networking. I think for a lot of things, we have a picture in our head about what that thing means without really exploring what does that thing mean. So if you break, as I remember when I worked on the SkyQ, and I approached somebody about being a delivery manager on a technical team, and because she hadn't had that title before, she was like, I can't do that, I don't know how. And I'm like, okay, breaking down the component parts of what it would take to do that, she could do 9 of 10 of them. I'm like, okay, I can help you with the 10th. So in terms of the networking, if you are, I told the story and this just made me laugh, so I'm gonna tell it again. Osama bin Laden lived in a cave in Afghanistan and had a network. I'm pretty sure you do too. So one is identifying what does networking mean vis-a-vis sales, vis-a-vis cold call. Like, these are all really different skills. But if you have friends, like, unless you are a true hermit, you have a network. So start identifying who's in my network now. Look at your phone. Look at the 15 most people that you text, WhatsApp, meme on Instagram, or young TikTok or whatever, right? That's your network. What do they do? Where do your circles overlap, right? And if you're going into the consulting space, right, one is knowing, why are you there? Like, what am I bringing to this table, and why does the client want to hear me talk? And then looking for connection at the client, right? Walk the halls, talk to people. I was a consultant for many years. You're there to help that client do whatever they're doing better. So talk to people. Hi, how are you doing? What do you do here? What you working on? Well, Lovey Jackson, bless her heart, she was the first black MD at Deloitte, and that was in 1993. Bring it. She was only the second woman MD at Deloitte as well. Yeah, bring it. She used to say, we're in the building, we get to walk the halls. If you're not talking to the client, and somebody said sales, I don't do sales. It's like she used to say, every time you open your mouth, you're selling. Right? So just talk to people from an authentic place. Find out what their problems are. Be curious.
And just to add, you can do that today, right? And there's about an hour between now and the after party. So use that to network.
Yes, meet 5 new people.
Yeah, definitely. Because this conference isn't just about this stage. It's not just about the corporates. It is about each other as well. So do use that time.
Kike, I was telling somebody when I went to your first one, I can't believe it's been 7. I was saying, I think it's 4 or 5. I'm not sure. 7. Damn, girl. When I went to the first one, I'm embarrassed, right? Because I didn't grow up in this country, but I've lived here for almost 30 years. And I go to an all-black conference, and I know her. That's it. And I was like, no, we're not having that. And now I can go to these conferences, and I know people because I challenge myself, and I'm not shy, but I challenge myself to meet at least 5 new people. You're here all day. Meet 5 people. Start building that network. And feed it. You got to feed it. You got to do stuff for your network. If you're that person who always asks from the network, feed the network.
Right, next question. So throughout the day and before today, we've heard about allies, mentors, sponsors, and now coaches. So it's one thing to get those people in your life, but how do you maintain those relationships and make sure that they last?
So, I try not to overly tax my mentors and my sponsors, and I try to have more than one, right? So you can have a professional relationship with an executive coach that'll be a usually paid or some sort of like agreement and contractual relationship with a coach. So that's one thing. But your mentors and sponsors, I find they dip in and dip out of my life, right? My mentors, like I have mentors I haven't spoken to in years. I have mentors I speak to once a quarter. But again, it's kind of like the networking, right? Like you feed them. I try not to make my mentoring relationship one way. So one of my long-term mentors was a partner at Deloitte in strategy. I never worked for him, but for whatever reason, he decided he liked me and he would reach out and say, how you doing? What's going on? What are you working on? Just curious. And I would try and point business his way or say, oh, I've heard about this. This sounds like you, Hans Christian. What do you think? Full circle, I need a coach. He's an executive coach. I don't want to work with him. He's my mentor. It's a bit weird. After meeting lots of executive coaches and deciding I'm definitely not having a coach, my boss said, well, what about your mentor, Hans Christian? And he got a quite nice contract coaching me, right? So keep the relationships well-fed and well-watered and try not to have them one way. And don't be calling your mentor every 10 minutes. They don't have time for that, right? So, yeah, that's one way to keep them.
Awesome. We got time for one more question.
All right, one more question.
That's it.
Make it juicy.
I will go more psycho-emotional with this question.
Ooh.
So, and it is in two parts. The first is, what qualities do we look for in a partner or support channels as we go up the ladder? And also, how do you balance your work and life as you go up to C-suite from your experience?
Oh, okay. So do you think they mean life partner?
Yes, I assume so.
Oh gosh. Lord. I don't know that I'm qualified. I'm married. I did it twice just to make sure I got it right the second time. Let me ask it a different way. So my partner is incredibly supportive. He's incredibly supportive in ways that I never thought a man would be, meaning he put his career second. He enabled me to move all over the place every time work came. And he also challenges me to do stuff that looks like it's going to help us move as a couple, right? And that's like, he must have an incredible amount of trust that, I'm not going to trade him up for a better model. Nah, I'll keep him another year, I think. So I think it's that like core values as people. Like, so what was it about him? Well, we both had similar backgrounds. He's English. He's from Liverpool. We grew up on opposite sides of the ocean, and yet we have loads in common, right? Like, we even have uncles and aunts with the same name. I'm like, how is that even possible? So just having that sort of core values that are very, very deep is helpful. And then in terms of the balance, honey, I ain't got no balance. Like, I think balance is a lie. I think it's sort of seasons of your life when you're doing stuff, right? And I have great balance now because I'm retired, right? But in my last 2 years as the CTO, there was very little balance. Like, I didn't read fiction. I barely saw my friends. I worked a lot, right? I think we need, especially if you're an entrepreneur, good Lord, what balance is there? You got to recognize that this lie of balance is not real, right? Prioritize. And recognize, what season of my life am I in, and what am I supposed to be doing with the majority of my time, and then feel no guilt about it. This is that, and make sure your partner is aligned with that's the season you're in right now.
I'll just add to that. I think for life partner, they have to be kind. They also have to be supportive, and they can't be jealous as well.
Amen to that.
Those are very, very key. If you have a jealous partner, it can never, ever work, because you won't even feel comfortable telling them your wins or what's going on or opportunities. And it's easy to spot jealousy, right? So jealousy will be like you saying, hey, I just got this opportunity at work, or like your CTO opportunity, like, don't do it. Why you? Like that. Those are unkind things to say, and those are red flags. And they will only get worse as things go along. So you actually have to optimize for value and character first, above all else.
They need to look good too.
Yeah,
sorry. To you. Maybe to nobody else, but to you.
She's right, to you. You need to be attracted to them, because if they annoy you, you're
at least
like, I'm not even attracted to you. It does help. And then on the balance side of things, I think again, balance is something different to everybody. So like, for example, I have a 5-month-old baby, right? And people are like, why are you on stage? Why are you here? I'm like, within 2 weeks of having the child, I was like, I need to do some work, because that's just how I am. That's like my character, right? But to somebody else, they need a whole year maternity leave to feel like themselves, and that is fine as well. So you just need to know who you are and optimize for yourself and be okay with that. No one can tell you what's right and what's wrong. So on that note,
Woohoo, are we done?
we are done. We are done. Let's give Renee a round of applause. Thank you all. I'll let Kojo come up now, but like I said, we do have